Hey, Ironman, it's great to be back with you again this week here at the Grove Church in Chandler, Arizona. We're excited to be moving into a new study in 2021. I hope all of you guys are well and healthy. I'm sure some of you guys are at home still, avoiding COVID and stuff. I did end up getting COVID at one point over the last few weeks, but I am fully recovered, or at least 90-something% recovered now. And I'm feeling good. I got off light. It was a blessing. And thanks some of you guys who are praying for my wife and I, who both had it. So we're moving forward from that now. And I'm excited about meeting with you this week, Tuesday night and Wednesday morning. But a few weeks ago, Palmer, our pastor, came to me and said, Sam Acho's got a new book out. And I was like, who's Sam Acho? I thought I'd heard of him, but I wasn't sure. He said, no, he used to play for the Cardinals. And he used to go to the Grove here when he was playing for the Cardinals. So I looked him up on YouTube and watched some of his highlights, and he was a big, bad defensive player for the Cardinals for a few years while he was here in Arizona. So Palmer said, well, look, I'm going to try to get him to come here and speak. Why don't we, maybe go through his book? And I wasn't sure how I felt about being, kind of told which book to go through for our next study, but I took his suggestion and I looked at it. And I really liked it. And there's a lot of ex-football players and ex-athletes who write books, and sometimes they're good, sometimes they're not good. But this book is legit, and it's a legit Christian book that we can all of us men learn from. And it's called Let the World See You. And I'm going to have the image put up on the screen. Sam Acho's book, Let the World See You. And it's called How to Be Real in a World Full of Fakes, or, how to, be real in a world full of phonies is how I would like to put it. And this is a touching point for me because I love to be around people who are genuine. I like to be around people who are real. In fact, for years now, when people say, hey, Kyle, how's it going? I say, man, just keeping it real. That's one of my expressions I love. And I like to remind myself that, keep it real, be real with people. Don't be a phony. Don't put up masks. And that's what we're going to talk about today and in this week's session. So in the very first chapter, Sam talks about how he was meeting with a 71-year-old friend of his who had been his mentor, who was just about to die. He was just about to pass away. And he left Sam with two thoughts. He said, first of all, Jesus wants you to know him intimately. He wants you to get to know him in every way possible, and there's nothing more important in the world than that. He said, but the second most thing I want you to know, Sam, is that you are worth getting to know. Okay, you're worth getting to know, and never forget that. And that's what this book is about. It's about being known and not hiding behind masks, or not literally or figuratively hiding. He tells a story about how when he was in junior high or high school, he had friends at his youth group who were making fun of him because of his clothes, and he literally would go and hide in the bathroom stall until they went off into their small group so he could get away from those people who were picking on him. So there's that kind of hiding, but we're going to talk about people who are not, and us men especially, are not always real and not letting the world see who we are. But I believe I'm worth getting to know. I think you're worth getting to know. And not just for your benefit, but for people around you. They need to know who you are. Let your family and your neighbors and people see who you are. Let them know all your quirks, your fears, your kindness, your courage. Let them know these things. You were meant to be seen. You weren't meant to hide. I want to read this quote to you from Marianne Williamson. Now, on the screen, it may show a picture of Nelson Mandela. He's been credited for this, but actually, she is the one who wrote this quote. It says this: our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, and fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be that? You are a child of God. Your playing small doesn't serve the world. There's nothing enlightened about shrinking so that people won't feel insecure around you. We are all meant to shine, as children do. We were born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. It's not just in some of us, it's in everyone. And as we let our light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we're liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. So let the world get to know you. Don't shy away from it. God created you to shine. And hiding isn't healthy. I meet with men all the time. I see it in our men's group when we get together in our small groups. And there are certain people that are there presently, but they're hiding. And there's people that are staying home because they don't want to be known. And there's people that have been hiding for a long time that will come and join us and say, I'm ready to be known. I'm ready to share my feelings with somebody. And us guys, we don't do that as easily and as readily as women do. There's a reason why we average half the people that the women get in their Bible study, and it's because of that. We don't want to share who we are. We don't want to take down that mask. So it's not healthy. Even myself, I'm learning now to be more emotional as I get older. I'm learning to be more real. It's been said you can't hide, you can't choose which emotions that you cut yourself off from. When you cut off one of your emotions, it's going to affect all of your emotions. When you go into hiding for anger, it's going to hide your joy, and vice versa. It's okay to express those feelings and those emotions. If I were to ask any of you men, if I were to ask your wives or your girlfriends if they wish that you would share your emotions more, what do you think they would say? Of course they would say, yes, I would love for my husband to express himself more, to be more emotional, to show the real self. I'll be honest with you, I'm going to make a confession. I have not cried at a movie since 1997. And the movie that I saw, and you're going to laugh at this probably, was called Armageddon. And it was not a tearjerker by any means, except for one scene. Bruce Willis and his daughter was played by Liv Tyler. He's about to get himself blown up on this meteorite or crater or something up there in this asteroid. He was on an asteroid. And he's seeing his daughter through the screen, and they're both touching their hands, and he's just about to die, and he's sacrificing himself to save the earth. And I actually cried, and I was with a group of friends of mine. We were down in Costa Rica with a basketball team, and they were all laughing at me after the movie as I was walking out because I was, wiping the tears from my eye. And I have not cried since then at a movie. And I don't know if it was because my buddies were making fun of me or if I just have bottled it up. But it's not good to bottle up our emotions. It's good to be emotional. As men, I know that's hard to do sometimes. And it can be even something as, if you think something's funny, laugh at it. I sit in our living room and watch TV. I mostly watch comedies and things. And I will laugh out loud, even if I'm in a room by myself. It doesn't matter to me. I don't have to have people around me. And my wife will say, why are you in there laughing? You're the only one in there. And I said, because I'm not laughing to entertain people around me. I'm not laughing for your benefit. I'm laughing because I think that something's funny. So let out your emotions. Hiding doesn't produce growth. If you're hiding physically or figuratively, it doesn't produce growth. In fact, it's the opposite. It stymies your growth. Hiding from the church is not going to help you grow spiritually. Hiding from other men and how you're feeling is not going to help you grow at all. We create habits, whether consciously or unconsciously, to escape pain. We suppress it. We suppress fear. We suppress insecurity. We suppress sadness. We suppress jealousy, all these different things. And eventually, if you suppress something long enough, it's going to blow up on you. I had that happen to me several years ago when my father died and a few other things happened. I suppressed a lot of emotions, and it eventually came back to bite me. So I want to encourage you, don't suppress it. Let it out. Let it out in a positive way, but be real. Remember, Jesus had emotions too. He was very emotional. He was happy, he was sad, he cried, he was angry. There was lots of emotions that we can learn from him. Let's look at Matthew 5:14 through 16. It says, you are the light of the world, a town built on a hill that cannot be hidden. Neither do people light a lamp and put it under a bowl. Instead, they put it on a stand, and it gives light to everyone in the house. In the same way, let your light shine before men, that they may see your good deeds and glorify your Father in heaven. You see, we serve a God who loves us. So don't hide. Don't be ashamed. Show people who you are. Be you. God gets the glory when people compliment you, when they say good things about you, when they admire you, because he's the one who created you. Okay, now we can say, give God the glory, and sometimes we're good about that, sometimes we're not, but God gets the glory regardless because he is the one who made you. And he wants you to share yourself with the world, so let your light shine. There was a Diet Coke commercial years ago, well, not that long ago, and the ad was "You do you." Okay, you guys remember that? You do you. You want to run a marathon? Great, run a marathon. This girl walking down drinking a Diet Coke. She said, "You want to live in a yurt? Go live in a yurt." I don't know even really what a yurt is. I think it's a round little bed and breakfast kind of place out in the middle of nowhere. But anyway, it's like, if you want to do it, do it. Now, I mean, it's a very secular type of notion, but it's also true. You do you. And in other words, you be yourself. You be you. When you hear this, be yourself, is it good advice? Well, it can be good advice if you're living on the principles of God and the moral teachings that he has, regardless of what others around you are doing. Then being yourself is a good thing. But what if you're a jerk? What if you're not living your best life? What if you're not living that kind of faith that God wants you to? What if you're mean and selfish? Then should you be yourself? Well, probably not. I think maybe what it should say is, be your best self. And this is where Ephesians 4 comes in. I'm not going to read from that, but it's all about putting off our old self and putting on our new self. So if we're going to be ourselves, let's be our best self. Let's put our best self out there. The old self is greedy and selfish and puts pleasure above everything else. It puts your needs above everyone else's. The old self loves impurity. It loves immorality. So when we say be yourself, is this the self that you really want to be? Is this the self that you want to portray? And I know if you're watching this tonight, that's not necessarily the case. You are trying to be a better person, or you wouldn't even be tuned into this thing tonight. So Paul says, the old self belongs to your former manner of life and is corrupt through deceitful thoughts. And he goes on to say, put on the new self created in the likeness of God and the true righteousness and holiness of God. So when we say be ourselves, be yourself, be your new self, not your old self. Your old self frequently pushes aside the new self to reclaim its position. It's a daily battle that goes on. Old self fighting new self. I mean, every single one of you who's listening to this feels that conflict every single day. And it's something that you're not ever going to be able to get away from. But we can continually strive to be our new self as God wants us to. We've all been there. You have a new self, a holy self that's created by God who wants to kill off the old self. And sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. It's an everyday battle. But I want to encourage you to be the real you. When someone says be yourself, they're encouraging you to be the best you. They're encouraging you to be the real you that God created you to be. I'm telling you the same thing. Let others see you as God made you and as God intended you to be. To be yourself means that you're not holding grudges. It means you're not holding on to bitterness. It means you're putting aside toxic feelings that you have towards others. It means you're not tearing down people. You're not bullying people. You're not belittling people. Okay, we don't lie about people. We don't gossip about people when we are being our best self. So be kind, Paul writes. He says, forgiving one another, be tenderhearted with each other. But best of all, be yourself and show people the joy that's within you. And we've talked about that in the past, right? Okay, be joyful. Let other people see that light. So be yourself, but you don't always have to be yourself by yourself. Remember, God's right there next to you. He's going to stand next to you, and he's going to help you be the best self that you can be, that you're putting out there. Now, I want to finish with this. I'm going to call it my Keep It Real Manifesto. Okay, keeping it real. Keep It Real Manifesto is this. I'm going to give you a list of some things. First of all, don't hide. Okay, we're all wearing these masks these days. Okay, it's easy to hide behind these things physically. All right. But don't hide behind a mask and try to portray something that you're not. Don't be a phony, okay? The second one is take down walls that you have built up around you. Let people get close to you. okay? Open the gates to your heart. Let people get to know you and see the best you. The next one is don't make yourself look like something that you're not. Okay, don't try to portray yourself as something that you're not. And I see this a lot with people who are trying to keep up with the latest trends, with the way they dress and the hats that they wear and the cars that they drive and the music that they listen to. Look, if you don't like that stuff, don't do it. Wear what you want to wear. Keep it real with a Goodwill hockey jersey, or whatever makes you comfortable. If you like all that new stuff, great, you're being you. But don't do it if it's not you. Okay, be transparent. Be real. Don't be a phony. And don't be a chameleon. Okay, don't blend in with that's going on around you, especially if it's ungodly. I had a friend of mine that I worked with in the past, and I liked him, but I never got close to him. And the reason why I never really got close to him is because he was one of these guys that no matter who he was with, he tried to be exactly like them. He would laugh like them. He would talk like them. If he was going to their house for a social, he would kind of dress like them. I couldn't do it. I can spot a phony laugh. I can spot phoniness a mile away. And I know a lot of you guys can too. I can spot it to a fault. I don't know if it's a spiritual gift or if it's a curse or what, but I can see when somebody's not being real. And I know a lot of you guys can too. So don't be a chameleon. Be genuine. Show your emotions, all of your emotions, happy, sad, angry, whatever it is. And this is my last one I want to say to you. And this is about keeping it real. If somebody says to you, will you pray for me on this? And you say, yeah, I'm going to keep you in my prayers, or I'm going to pray for you. Don't say it unless you plan on doing it. In fact, do it right then so you don't forget. I have to do that. If somebody says, hey, will you remember to pray for so-and-so? They have COVID or they have whatever. I'll say, yeah, I'll pray for you. And as I'm walking away, I'll pray for them, or I'll pray for them right there on the spot, because I know myself, once I get away from them, I'm going to forget. Okay, so don't tell them you're going to do it. Don't be one of those people who on a text says, hey, pray for that. It goes out to a group. You guys seen these? And the first things that come up are these little emojis, praying, praying, praying. Don't do it, and don't put it on there, and don't say it if you don't mean it, if you're not planning on praying for people that you say you are. I want to conclude with this. One of the best compliments that somebody can give me, I don't know if it's like this for you, if somebody would say, what you see is what you get. Okay, have you ever heard that expression? I'm sure you have. I was at lunch the other day with a couple of friends of mine, and we were talking about this, and one of the guys said this about me. He says, Kyle, this is you to a fault. Now, I don't know if that was a compliment or not. I got a feeling he wasn't complimenting me knowing him. I think there was a little dig in there somewhere. But I took it totally as a compliment. I want people to say that about me. That's the best thing somebody can say about me, is that I'm keeping it real all the time. I thought about this too. When you die, when you're at your funeral, okay, what is going to be the theme of the stories that people are going to be telling about you? Okay, is there going to be a consistent theme throughout that? And I know there's going to be a couple of themes throughout mine. I'm not going to get into it, but I know there will be a couple of themes that will be said about me. Did people get to know the real you? That's the question. Did they get to know the real you when they're up there telling stories and when they're having a drink or they're eating afterwards at the funeral reception? Are they talking about the real you or the you that you had portrayed yourself to be? I love genuine people. I love all of my best friends through the years that I have had since grade school up till now. I look back this week and was thinking about people. All that they have in common is all of them were genuine. All of them were very real people who I allowed myself to get close to because I could tell that there was no phoniness or fakeness with them. So let the world see you. Let the world see you as God created you to be, which is your best self. It's your new self that Paul talks about in Ephesians 4. The subtitle is How to Be Real in a World Full of Fakes. I hope you get a chance to read this book and see what God has to say about us being real, keeping it real, and being genuine, and being the kind of godly person that God wants us to be.